Hello and welcome to Infamous, the audio podcast. This is Brandon, or Mutilus on Discord.
This is Jeremy on Discord.
And this is Aaron. I go by Treffenwood.
I noticed you didn't do anything cute this time, Jeremy. You tired of not being able to have people find you on Discord?
Number one, no one's looking for me on Discord.
No one's looking.
It
I've
only
seen you
fucking
get added.
bothers me.
Can I tell you what makes my hour every time Jeremy gets added? And it's like, I'm like Jeremy, I think, on Discord maybe. And it's like a paragraph of a name.
Yeah, it's horseshit.
And it's just like
So
all
stupid.
glowing in the text box. I'm like, that's awesome.
It's a troll that works every 20 minutes or so that I post or log in.
It's pretty great, right?
Well done.
It's an elegant troll because I'm not doing it. Other people are doing it to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us. This is episode 107 of the Infamous podcast. I do have a small announcement. We were contacted. Someone wants one of our shirts, and they said, and I quote, "Just put all of the slogans on the shirt. That would be the best."
What's
So
our
just have, like,
slogans?
Just like a pair. Well, like the things we were going to put on them. Like,
yeah.
can you just try, please?
Yeah.
And then the gang sells t-shirts, or the gang goes to a con. He's like, just put all of them on there. I want one. So that was fun.
I'm in.
Shout out. Yeah, so that's pretty much it for right now. That will take us into the news.
Hey,
Let's go news!
Yes. News!
We do have some fun news today. We get to break out the Aaron trash scale again.
Yeah,
Nice.
baby.
Yeah. So today, the Sentinel Tactics cards were spoiled. We have 3 new ones that we didn't have yet. It looks like the art's actually pretty cool on these. Very Sentinel. There's always big robot dudes standing around. So the first one we have is Directive 1, is a reactive Sentinels only card. During the power phase, allied Sentinels characters may spend 1 power. If at least 2 power was spent, you may play this card. Until the end of the round, enemy characters do not benefit from the stealth superpower, cannot reroll or modify defense dice. Additionally, allied characters do not require line of sight when targeting enemy characters with attacks until the end of the round. So I have a couple questions before we get into the functionality of this card. First, yet again they have clarified reroll or modify, when rerolls are modifications. Do you believe this is yet again another error, or do you think they're going to separate rerolls from modifications?
Jeremy, you go first.
Every time I read that, reroll or modify, I keep going back to every game I've ever played, and I'm like, did I cheat? Like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure
Can I tell you
anymore.
what I keep going back to? When a new player's like, well, then why does it say reroll or modify? And I'm like, it's lazy writing. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
I find it very frustrating when they keep doing stuff like this, because it makes you read it and think, am I doing this wrong? Like, it's very frustrating for me that they don't just clean up the wording on that specific thing. That's like the only thing that keeps getting through. And I wonder if there's a guy in the office that's doing it on purpose to troll, and there's nobody's catching it before it goes to print.
He adds in or modify right before print.
Or modified. Well, clearly
Or
it
reroll.
cannot modify their defense dice.
Yeah,
but they
yeah.
chatted cannot reroll or.
'Cause it says in the rulebook, right? Modification is rerolls. Like, it says
Yeah,
that.
anything that physically changes the die face is a modification. All right, so Aaron, give us a trash scale for this card, Directive 1.
Okay, as a reminder, trash is on a scale from -10 to +10. This card gets a trash rating of +2.
Ooh, we broke the negative streak.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, it's not my fault these aren't complete garbage. So, let me actually pull it up so I can talk about it. Yeah, my hot take here is this card will probably make your 10 if you are playing Sentinels as your primary affiliation, and it will be part of your 5 situationally. And I think that's a good design. I don't think it's super good. Taking away stealth and line of sight can be good. Go ahead.
Yeah, they have long range attacks. Ignoring stealth is nice. I think it's mostly because you're effectively marked for deathing their entire list, right?
Yep.
That's pretty good, and it only costs you the exact same amount of power and doesn't have a range requirement on it. That's a good card. We thought Marked for Death was playable on its own. I think your rating is actually a little low. I think this is closer to a 6 out of 10.
Ooh. Okay.
Now, the problem is, I don't know how important it is, because I haven't played Sentinels yet. I don't know how important it is that, because it doesn't only affect Sentinel characters, it affects all your characters. So you only have to have 2 Sentinels in your list to get this card.
Yeah.
and they each spend 1. So like you could just have Prime and Cassandra Nova and be like playing a weird ass list, and then like I don't know, Dormammu gets to not Dormammu, but like Malekith gets to use this ability.
Right. I just view it as like in my last X many months of history playing. How many times have I played against lists that had an abundance of characters with stealth and or defensive rerolls? The answer is not more than 50% of the time. Obviously, Web Warriors hate this card. Black Cat says, "Oh no." So there are times when you absolutely want to bring this card, but for the majority of my matchups that I can think back to, I probably would not want to include this in my 5 looking across the table at my opponent's roster.
Yeah. Part of me thinks stealth isn't going to be a big deal for them, but they do have a lot of higher range attacks, and they don't really have the action economy to move and then shoot. So they really can't afford to get screwed over by stealth, so I think that's important. But yeah, I think obviously the defensive mods are really important. Ignoring cover and line of sight on everything you do for a round is pretty sweet. Okay, next up's going to be Efficient Machines, also Sentinel-only card, reactive as well. During the power phase, an allied Cassandra Nova may spend 3 power to play this card. Until the end of the round, allied Sentinel characters within 3 of Cassandra Nova treat blocks as wilds. Thoughts?
So there's one thing that you need to know when you play this card, which is it's a pulse, not an AoE. So it's not a bubble. Right, so
for people that didn't play War Machine, explain the difference.
It says allied Sentinels characters within 3 of Cassandra Nova. It does not say while within 3, so it's just like Gambit. Gambit's Dark Past says everyone within, I forget what it is, 3 gains stealth. That's not while within, so it's a pulse. You take a look at where are people right now. All of those characters gain stealth. For this card, all of those characters who are at that moment within 3 of Cassandra Nova gain Efficient Machines for the rest of the round.
Yeah. So you check the one time, and that's it. For them on, they have the ability.
Yep. In terms of how good it is, I don't really know. But I'm going to go with a hot take and say it gets a trash of +3.
Well, I will point out that the regular Sentinels, their Suppression Protocol's attack, gives out a negative effect for each wild in your roll, which is pretty cute, and it's an 8 dice attack. And so you'll give out Incinerate, Shock, and Slow really easily.
I mean, it seems to me that once you really start looking at what models you're going to want to take with this, you probably can get some wacky shit going on, being that, wilds are kind of a trigger for a lot of cool stuff. And this basically means that someone who throws 5 dice is probably going to catch a wild with that.
This is, by the way, this is the first card that triggers Under the Skin. Because it triggers on Sentinel characters, not Sentinels, like constructs.
Correct. There's 8,000 weird things and interactions you can make with this card. Of those 8,000, all 8,000 are meme. But still fun.
Yeah. So I know people were talking about this, taking Corvus and playing Under the Skin, and then he hits on all die results except for multiple skulls.
Yeah. That's like some sort of
guys. I hit on blanks.
Some sort of hellish nightmare flying across the city.
And the first skull is a crit. Fuck me.
Yeah. I don't know that if you're already paying for blanks, how many blocks does Corvus roll?
Right. Yeah. Also, it prevents him from flurrying because he cannot get block results.
Oops.
Which is cute, by the way.
Yeah. So there are a lot of cute interactions, but then you're wasting 2 cards. Yada, yada, yada. So,
for example, if you had Voodoo, which we might talk about later, you could do Soul Burn, and then he's damaging you, and you're losing a power for each wild in his roll, which is pretty sweet. Also, Hood would be great. Hood would just be good in general, because you get the 3 points of healing every round. But then also being able to empower Dark Lightning with multiple wilds, which would be pretty sweet.
But again, it's 2 tactics cards to pull that off.
Yeah. I got it.
And some random dice. So
I think it has potential. Aaron? Jesus.
Aaron, I think the problem you have with your perspective on Marvel Crisis Protocol is you're not constantly trying to meme people, and that's how this game works.
Oh, damn it. Okay. I'll work on that. I really will.
Yeah.
Oh my God. We're just trying. Listen. We're just
Why
trying
can
to
no one
live.
have fun, Aaron?
That's what I'm saying.
I didn't know the fun police were here. All right,
Yeah, we did.
anyway,
He said he's got the Aaron scale of negative emotions.
yeah. Aaron is definitely the Simon Cowell of this rating system. Jeremy is definitely like the nah dog. This is gonna be
Nah.
a no.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what that makes me. I haven't watched the show enough because I hate those fucking singing shows.
All right, can we move on?
All right, I like this card. It's kind of fun. But I think the other one is better. Directive one I think is better than Efficient Machines. Moving on to the final card, Scrap Metal. Great name. It is also a reactive Sentinel only card. I'm noticing a theme. While an allied character with the Sentinel programming innate superpower would be KO'd, it may spend 2 power to play this card. I immediately went, oh my god, they have a save from death card, and this game is about to get broken again.
Yep.
You roll 5 dice for each hit, crit, and wild result in the roll. All other characters within 2 of that character suffer 1 damage. Additionally, all characters within 2 are stunned. And then the character's KO'd.
They got a Death Blossom.
Boom. Yeah. This is similar to the spell from Diablo 2, Corpse Explosion.
It's not quite as good, but yes.
It's not quite as good.
So I'm gonna hot take this as an Aaron trash factor of 0.
Ooh.
Not
this
good,
would
not
be,
bad.
That's right. Not good, not bad. I'll talk about why real quick. So you were counting on your opponent to do something. Your opponent can always play around some of that. And or not care if their fully healthy character takes 2 damage. In exchange for KOing your model. Like, okay, I'll trade that. On the other hand,
average being 2.5 per roll, yeah.
Right. It could be ball breaking. You're like, I need to kill this guy, but I can't because I'll die. It's the same issue you have with Counter-Strike sometimes. Like Counter-Strike, can I really afford to attack Black Widow? Because if I don't kill you, I might die. So it's kind of the same thing, except it's only triggers on KO, so you're guaranteed to get the Sentinel death. I much prefer... Go ahead.
I can tell you how to fix this problem, Aaron. Just play under the, or whatever the sleeper agent card is, and they can't play this card in response to you killing them.
That's true. I'll have Mystique kill you so you can't play this. Anyway, it has good potential. Now, this card would be a 10 if it was active, and you could choose to KO your model for that same effect.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Right?
Like jam them into like 5 models.
Double move your Sentinel and have it explode. Oh my god, that would be amazing.
Okay, so I can definitely tell you that people are going to take this card, and it's going to be terrible. And then some people are going to take this card, and it's going to be fucking amazing.
Yep.
But the problem is, like, the people that are going to have amazing games is when your opponent doesn't bother reading your cards, and you're playing, like, Researcher. And it's just, like, 5 people surrounding your Sentinel, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna school this idiot. Look, I'm going to kill one of his big models, and it explodes. It does, like, 20 damage to your fucking list.
Oh, my God.
You're like, no!
Well, I can't wait until...
Boom.
Like, I'm playing Mal in Sentinels, and I'm going to kill your model and throw it into my own Sentinel to KO my Sentinel to play this card.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, there's some cheeky shit you can do, but that's why I gave it a 0, because it is mostly cheeky, could be good, but requires a lot of setup to happen.
So, Jeremy, do you believe that this is an exact reason why Wolverine is so good? Because he can kill the Sentinel, have it explode, and then heal the 2 damage? Is that why he's so good at fighting Sentinels?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I also agree. Actually, I like this card because it does what you think it should do. Like, it's a fucking bomb, and it goes off, and, like, it does cool stuff. And it's easy to play. It's not a convoluted mess like so many cards are now.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
But why couldn't you do it yourself? I mean, come on, AMG.
Yeah.
That one's coming. Oh my god, can you imagine if full health, or if on non-injured side you detonate it to immediately go to a KO, do 5 damage to all models, or like something crazy?
Oh, it dealt damage based on like how much health it had.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
A walking bomb.
So I'll just say it's a good thing we don't live in that world and we won't have to find out.
So,
Boo.
Could you pick up all 3 legacy virus cures and before you're KO'd and kill the entire team?
Yes. Other fun thing you could do is shoot your Bob into their models. They choose to throw Bob into, or you could push your model in there. Bob walks forward, hops in front of the Sentinel, shoots somebody. The explosion goes off. Bob gets thrown to the Sentinel. Sentinel dies to the Bob throw. You play scrap metal, and it all explodes again.
Wow.
So
Everybody's taste.
I'm a big fan of all three of these cards because I clearly don't think any of them are busted. I don't think any of them are completely worthless. I really like that they are decent cards that you could consider in your 10 and possibly your 5, but aren't auto includes. I like them all.
Which all got basically a 0 based on your trash factor.
0, 2, and 3. Yeah, that's what I gave.
Jesus. And that's good?
Yeah.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you're paying attention. Oh, mercy.
So so the people at home can understand, the trash scale is a scale of -10 to +10. What you need to do for context is move the 0 10 points to the left and have all the numbers. And then you'll have an accurate scale of power level.
I didn't design the scale. It's what you guys told me to do.
That's not what we told you to do. We don't. You're like the guy who like drives his car into a building. It's like, why would they put a parking space here? Like they didn't. Like you parked your car there.
Well, that's the way it is now.
Okay.
All
right. Well, that's going to wrap up news for us today. Hopefully you guys had fun enjoying that. Moving on. Hobby projects. Anybody have anything they want to talk about for hobby stuff?
Yeah,
I'm built and primed a lot. And I'm yet to start painting again. So that's going to be a wad of stuff that's going to happen.
Cool. I'm probably a month and a half away from being able to paint again. So we're getting close.
Nice.
That because your little blue pills say do not paint while taking?
I guess. It's mostly just busyness. Aaron, did you have something you wanted to say?
I am finally under 100 models left in all of my games that are unpainted.
Nice.
First time my painting backlog has been under 100 since 1985.
That's very cool. Congratulations, Aaron.
Thanks.
Does that include Gloomhaven?
Yeah. That's not
Coward.
All right, so you're finally under 100 total models left to paint for your hobby games.
Correct.
Since I've been alive.
Yes.
Okay. Just confirming. We'll move on now. That was just a long troll setup for that statement.
Well done.
All right. Currently playing. We had a tournament over the weekend.
Yay.
We're going to talk quickly about some of our games, and I'll go first. So I played Convocation again. I made the change that I talked about, which is dropping Magic and Journey Through Limbo for Ancient One and Eye on the Prize. I used Eye on the Prize in one of my games, and it was exactly as advertised. It works. Before,
Cool.
I was only doing it if I won priority. I was teleporting him forward with Clea, and then having Doctor Strange grab 2 of the hammers. So basically, I would teleport him 2 forward, then my opponent would take one of the side hammers, and then I would take the other hammer with Strange, because he's fast enough. Eye on the Prize makes it much easier, and is no longer priority dependent. Also, I don't have to play Clea. These are all good things. I don't like that it takes up a tactics slot, because I have a lot of really good tactics cards, but it is definitely worth putting in the 10. Ancient One, I played Ancient One the first game. She was okay. She was very non-proactive, like I feared she would be, and my opponent could just completely ignore her. She did get multiple of her big astral strikes off, and it was okay. It was only not better because I didn't have someone big to put it into. So I think it would have been good into someone like Malekith. It was just a little annoying because it didn't work as well as hoped.
Turns out staggering Bullseye is not the end all be all.
Well, I put it into Thor. It's just Thor is a heaping pile of shit, so it didn't matter. Like, he's just a leadership on a 5-point stick. It's just very boring. I will tell you that not playing for 2 months will make you rusty. I can tell you that as a fact now, and not just as a perspective. In the first game, we played 19 points. So I took Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider, Ebony Maw, and Ancient One.
That doesn't sound like pulling a Connor.
Yeah, so for anyone listening at home that's not affiliated. So I played 3 tactics cards down in the first game, basically, because I selected my tactics cards thinking I was going to be affiliated. I noticed that at deployment, I'm like, wait a second. This is definitely illegal. So that was not good. I played it out, though. It was okay. I ended up losing to Brandon. It was the Brandon mirror. We had 3 Brandons at our tournament. It was like a 30% chance to get paired against a Brandon.
Wow.
It was fun. I had a good game against Brandon. It was pretty brutal. I tried to ignore Researcher and take out his models, and I chose the attrition route instead of scenario route, and it bit me. So I did not come out on top of that one. I think if I had a leadership and some better tactics cards, it would have been easier. But not having, like, I didn't have Bar with No Doors. I didn't have Plane of Poldock. I didn't have Ironbound books. Like, it was quite brutal. Round 2, let's see, who did I play round 2? I played Nigel, I think. Nigel from Muse. He played his X-Force list. He was up on me, I think, 10-2 at the end of round 4 in points. And I ended up winning 14-12. Because I was just ignoring scenario until I got all of his models dead. And then in the final round, he had Rogue and Colossus left. Rogue got dazed to bleed because she had to daze both of my people that were just going to kill her because she had 1 hit point anyway. She did get both of them dazed, though. And then Doctor Strange teleported Colossus away and then double moved to one of the side points. And then he couldn't come back. And so I just got all 3 of the incursions and the Senator every round. And so I was scoring 5 points a round. And he just couldn't stop me. So that was fun. And then my last game against Colin, I basically just got an attrition victory. I killed enough of his guys. He was playing Avengers, Web Warriors, which is a combo I like, but is generally weak against Convocation because both of them have heavy Mystic holes. And I just got ahead of him on points. It was one of the silly everything goes your way games, and so Strange got 2 hammers on the first turn. His Captain America walked forward and picked up the other hammer, and then got dazed by Hood on the first turn. And so then he walks up and picks it up with Wolverine, and then Ghost Rider does like 5 damage to Wolverine. And so it's just like he's just hemorrhaging hit points for no reason. And then on the other side of the table, it was Doctor Strange versus Miss Marvel and Miles, which is actually an issue because he can just run up and take my hammers away. So I basically daze Miss Marvel, run away with Doctor Strange. Miles takes the side point, and then on the next turn, Doctor Strange moves back in and does his Shining Circle and just one-shots both of them. And then the next turn cleans up Miles. And so he KO'd 2 people by himself without taking damage. And then the other side, it was basically just Vision and Wolverine versus my entire list, and they couldn't quite get it done. They got pretty close. They brutalized a lot of my people. Those were my 3 games. How did you guys do?
Well, so what I was wondering about your games, did you just not respect Brandon enough to use a leadership in the first game?
Yeah, I thought it wasn't needed. Yeah, I mean, he's so loose with like his play that was the only reason. It was definitely not me just making an enormous idiot mistake.
I came over and saw you play. I was going, this doesn't make any sense. What happened?
Like, how are his models alive? I'm like, it's going quite badly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I don't know why. I think I forgot that normally I don't take... what was the difference? I'm trying to remember the difference, because I know I played 19 with 2 big guys before. I just can't remember why it worked out. Maybe my 2 big guys were Strange and, like, Ebony Maw. Can't remember. Anyway.
Probably.
It was brutal. Yeah, not being affiliated is brutal.
So, the games I played, well, first off, I've been playing Malekith a lot, as a lot of people have been. So, I wanted to see how he'd do. So I played Malekith and MODOK basically every game, and it was designed that way. It's a 12-point base, and then I kind of go off of that. So the first game I played Nigel. Nigel was... First off, Nigel's models look great. He was saying he painted them all up and pretty quickly.
Yeah,
I was like,
Nigel's
oh my God.
a great painter when he takes the time to actually paint. He does a lot of really good source lighting effects.
Yeah, no, it's one of the nicest looking Wolverines I've seen, like, ever. It's really cool. So anyway, he was playing more of trying to kill me and kind of forgot about the scenario. And it was meteors and researcher. So number one, he didn't realize that researcher automatically gives 2 points, which most people don't realize it if you don't play it enough. But it'll automatically give you 2 points if you have it contesting the home point of your opponent. and every single turn, basically, it went 5-0 because he just wasn't playing scenario. And every time you try and get close, I'd make sure that he wasn't playing scenario. So that game went to probably turn 5 or something, and he killed a bunch of stuff or did a bunch of damage. But at the end of the day, the scenario is what got it. So the second game, I played Chad, and Chad was playing Asgardians. So he had Thor, Angela, a few other models. I don't really remember, but Angela was the VIP that game. For folks that want to know how to do damage to Malekith, Angela, with a little bit of power, can do a lot of damage. She has the first off, she can bounce off one of your little guys.
Hard disbelief. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, maybe she gets killed coming in or something, but I mean, she's fast enough to do a lot of work. So she bounces off one of your little guys, gets an extra attack, and then gets to swing twice or more, depending on what the wilds do and all that. But she's pretty good counter for Malekith. Couldn't quite get the job done. We went down to probably, I think it was turn 6, but it was pretty weird because we got to play one of the starter box missions with the healing. Is that Extremis?
Extremis.
So I was having to deal with Asgardians who were healing and also healing. And I was like, man, it's been a minute since I've had to deal with this shit.
Yeah.
And then, so I won that game. And then the last game I played, I believe his name was Patrick. Yeah, he was playing Hulk with Steve. So he knew I was playing Malekith, probably MODOK, and I knew he was playing Hulk with Steve. I think we got 17 points. We played books, and I think it was Senators with the Split Z. Is it Senators, or which one is that called?
The Split C? You mean Mayor Fisk?
Mayor Fisk, there you go.
Yeah,
that's what I meant.
Okay.
So we played that one. We had a weird split, but I think Dark Bifrost was the difference because I was able to be on one point and then go to the other one and deal with needed to be dealt with. And I got lucky because Hulk got down to 1. I could not kill him by turn 5, and he was getting ready to be like crazy on me, killing everything. But I just put one of the mission tokens near him, and he died on his own turn at the end of the turn, so I didn't have to deal with him. Thank God. So ended up taking that game. Good games all around. It was cool to play a bunch of people from out of town and not have to play locals all the time. Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I was super happy to see all the people from out of town.
For
Aaron?
sure.
I played Snotlings with Morgan Hackflem, and it went really well.
Nice. For people at home, that's Blood Bowl words. All right, so some takeaways I had from the tourney. First of all, I was super proud of Nigel. Nigel's definitely picking up the game faster than most people. And we had a little bit of a conversation after the game, referencing some old War Machine thought processes we've had. In War Machine, it was a super aggressive scenario game, much like Marvel Crisis Protocol is, except instead of both people scoring a lot, you would deny scoring a lot. And so even though the potential maximum scoring of a scenario might be 5, it was like 6 to win. And so you would play and you would all the contesting would just end up, because it wasn't total number of units, it was contested where it wasn't. So you would end up with 1 or 2 points around usually. But the way a lot of people played War Machine was you're using attrition to gain a scenario advantage. And so you're leveraging threat ranges and model placement and positioning and model health to try and gain advantage on the scenario elements. As we're in Marvel, it's kind of reversed. You're leveraging scenario elements to gain an attrition advantage, where all your, like, if I put all of my big fighty models on the objective points, you not contesting them and allowing me to attack you is just going to give me a free scenario win. So it's not really an option. And so it's an interesting, like, inverted like strategy perspective that a lot of people have had, and I've had more than one person reference that with me. So I'm just curious if you guys kind of agree with that standpoint.
You said a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, sorry.
So no, yes, War Machine was different in the way you had to approach it. So,
for example, I think as a new player in Marvel, one of the pitfalls they run into is they play an attrition heavy army like, I don't know, Spider Foes or something, and then they just kind of run at people and kind of ignore the scenario for their first couple games. And so basically my advice is just go stand on the scenario elements. People will come to you. Like, you don't need to chase anybody. Like, they're going to deliver the bodies to you, and then you just make them bodies, because, you know, you just stand in the places where you get all the points, and then they'll come fight you. Does that make sense?
I agree with that.
Okay. That I noticed that I didn't have the muscle memory of like contest all the objectives that I had when I was playing more, and so I got myself into a lot of trouble going, well, I don't need to contest that, I'm going for attrition. And then I realized I was like, well, I just needed to be there the whole time, and I was so afraid of taking free attacks that I didn't contest the points, and so that got me into a trouble in my first game specifically.
I think that there's one of the big differences between War Machine and Marvel is the fact that Marvel, you can only do 2 things and a superpower, where you never looked at, to me, I never looked at War Machine like that at all. You know, you had huge units, or you could basically do as much as you needed to do as long as you had power and whatever, but being able to know that this model can only do 2 things, basically, like, and a superpower. And so if it's standing over there, do I really care about it that much? Do I need to run up on it? Probably not. Just go over to the other thing, you know, like, just knowing how to manage that is a big deal.
Cool. So moving on, our next topic for today is our main topic. We are going to discuss basically our perspectives on some of the different leaderships available in the game. So we'll go through basically all the different aspects of them, and then we'll kind of categorize them into some categories we've made up in advance, and then we might change the categories based on how we think people fit into them. All right, so first up we have the She-Hulk. She-Hulk's leadership is Defenders of Arcadia for the A-Force affiliation. It is when an allied character is damaged by an enemy effect, another allied character may gain 1 power. A character cannot gain more than 1 power from this leadership per turn. So, as far as rule mechanic wise, this is pretty straightforward. Basically, you can gain 1 power for every time they damage you with one of their effects. So anything a character has control over, like a throw or basically anything other than a game effect that your opponent decides to do to you. Like bleed wouldn't cause it, but if they attack twice and throw, anytime they're damaging you, it's triggering the power.
What if they throw a model into another model? Would you then gain dos powers?
Yeah, as long as both models damaged were yours, they would have to go to different people that were not damaged by the effect. I believe in that case you can give each of them a power from the opposite person.
Yep.
Yeah, as long as you don't go overboard on the total power gained. So yeah, that's definitely good.
So
Conceptually, go ahead, Jeremy.
I was going to say, this one feels to me, because I don't play A-Force, but I've played against it a lot. And what I understand to be true about A-Force is turn 1, it doesn't do a lot and you don't worry about it. On turn 2, their entire army is full up on power. Like
it definitely is a quick gainer. So conceptually, what do you think this leadership is designed to do? Like what situations and positioning is it designed to create? Is it supposed to deter them from attacking you, or is it supposed to like fuel your bodyguard on She-Hulk?
It is either a deterrent or enabler. The key is your opponent gets to pick.
Okay.
So the issue that an opponent has. So typically when I look at Marvel, you look at the game state and you're like, okay, what can your models do? You're like, your charge costs 3, you have 2 power. Don't need to worry about you. Unless you're playing Inhumans or Brotherhood or A-Force, right? So there's all these leaderships out there that can give power outside of activation, the model's activation. So that's the biggest thing as the opponent. You're like, well, you can do whatever you want on your turn unless I choose to never attack anyone.
Yeah.
There are only a few leaderships out there that cause your opponent to think about your leadership during their turn. It influences their actions, and this is one of them. And for that reason, I think it is outstanding.
It's gas on the fire, man. These guys go crazy.
I definitely like it. All right, so as a concept, what we think it's designed to do. So moving on to impact in the game, what are some key things that you think this will enable?
Captain Marvel binary form every turn.
That is definitely one of them. I see a lot of people going for that strategy.
Scarlet Witch punching early.
Yep.
She goes crazy on
nice.
it. Your bodyguards are all alive.
Yeah, obviously we already touched on the fact that it makes it very hard for you to attack anyone within 2 of She-Hulk because she can bodyguard. And so if you're attacking people near her and she's out of power, she instantly has more. And so now she starts bodyguarding again. So you can almost infinitely fuel her bodyguard. Like you guys are pointing out, you can load up big models to do cool stuff. Another one is you can enable stuff like Black Cat stealing on earlier turns than normal, which is nice. So that's all good. So we pretty much talked about all the good stuff. What are the bad things about her superpower?
About her
only
leadership?
Only 2 bad things. One, it is 100% based on your opponent to do damage to you. So if you're playing against a super control-oriented team, like Web Warriors or Kingpin Criminals, your leadership may end up being quasi-worthless. That is a very corner case scenario that doesn't happen too much. The second thing I don't like the leadership for is the fact it's attached to She-Hulk. I would love to play A-Force with a 3 or 4 threat leader. Like, that leadership would be bonkers because you're locked into a 6 threat. Not that the model She-Hulk is bad, but I think the leader She-Hulk is bad because you can't play with that leadership as wide as you might like to.
Spending 6 points on She-Hulk and then having a single model be able to bow her out or move her out or push her out without damage. There's so much of that. If she can't catch that bodyguard for whatever reason, it really kind of becomes a disaster. That 6 points getting kind of wasted. I mean, granted, the damage will build up and stuff, but not being able to use She-Hulk as like your heavy puncher every turn is a big deal.
Yeah.
So why do you think it's good, Brandon? Or why do you think you were saying it's good and he was saying it was bad earlier? I was just wondering.
Oh, no. So, like, we were talking about all the good points earlier. So
Yeah.
I was just saying, what are the bad points that we haven't
Oh, I
covered yet?
gotcha.
I think you guys pretty much nailed it. Being completely reactive and non-proactive is harsh sometimes because it's up to your opponent how strong your leadership is. And then, obviously, being tied to a 6-point model is very inflexible. Now, that being said, I think we all think She-Hulk's a good model, so I don't think that's a problem. But it's just that building the A-Force affiliation, starting 6 points invested at a minimum is kind of rough. Okay, so which category do you guys think that this fits into?
Is Enabler a category?
It's not. We
Oh.
could make it one. So our categories currently are Metabender, Quality of Life, Efficiency, Gimmick, Blitz, and Control.
Oh, efficiency.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like getting something out of all of your hit points is, I think, definitely where this would end up.
I kind of like Blitz a little better, though. I mean, it just pukes out a bunch of power all of a sudden on you really fast. But in efficiency, I don't know because it doesn't really do. If you control it at all, it won't be efficient. I mean, you can't do the things you want to do. Just my opinion on that. I feel like the thing is just explodes on turn 2 and 3, and you've either won or lost.
Okay,
Where does it land for you, Brandon?
that's what I'm thinking. I was gonna go efficiency, but you made a good argument because this is one that will definitely peter out over the course of a game.
I mean, turn 2 or 3 for them. The game is decided. Like they just either do it or they don't, and then they manage to get the loss or the win. Like it's just, to me, it's over.
Aaron, what do you think? You still hard on efficiency?
I'm hard all the time, man.
Yeah, but like position wise.
Oh, I don't really care. I mean, I agree with what Jeremy says to a point. I think when I play against them, I usually try to get through turn 2 without giving them power, or as little as I can. But then they're usually starting to gain some by the end of turn 2. So turn 3 starts, and just like every army, they've got enough power to do what they need. And at that point, you're like, well, you've already got 4 power. Who cares if you have 10? I might as well go to town on you. On the other hand, it does allow you to do almost anything that any of those models want to do. Like, you are constantly power flush from turn at least 2.5 on.
Well, you know I like being flush.
And hard.
When you're hard, yes. Flush and hard.
Flush and
It's
hard.
It's hard to be flush all the time.
Oh, no.
This
Hard and
podcast
flush
is
is
brought to you by
now what's
Hims.
going on the back of our t-shirts.
Okay, hard and flush. Oh, I gotta make a note of that. I'm gonna have to talk to my t-shirt guy and see if he can just do like a grab bag of different slogans, and so then which t-shirt you get will determine like a lot of things about. Like, I think that's fun. All right, moving on. We have By the way, I didn't actually announce this. I put her in efficiency. I think I was sold too much on the efficiency route.
Okay, that makes sense. That's fine.
Next up, we have Thor, Prince of Asgard. All right, Prince of Asgard, Asgard affiliation. At the start of each of your turns, one allied character may spend 1 power. If they do, remove 1 damage or 1 special condition from that character. Each allied character may use this leadership once per round. So as far as rule mechanics, it is important to note that you do not have to use this leadership on the character activating, or if you activate a character.
Fucking hate
So
this leadership. Oh my god.
You could pass and still use the leadership on one of your characters as long as they haven't yet used it.
What you cannot do is decide to activate X character, take a move, and go, fuck, I forgot to use my leadership. Or in fact, you can, but you can then no longer go back and use your leadership.
You can say it. That is allowed.
So I have probably forgotten to use leadership at least 50% of every turn I've played with Asgard.
Well, I will say the majority of those turns, though, you didn't say, fuck, I forgot to use my leadership. You just forgot. It wasn't even mentioned until the next round.
Now, at least in half of those, during the turn, I was like, I try not to verbalize too much when I'm playing.
You don't want to let your opponent know that you're that bad of a coach,
That's right. I am second order chessing you right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you play Asgard, you just need to have like something that tells you to think about your leadership before you do anything on your turns.
Yeah, or just have the habit built in.
Yep.
Like for me, playing Convocation so much, a lot of people skip past power phase as quickly as possible. I have this catch in my brain that just goes, all right, power phase is over, and it's just like alarm bells go off in my head. I'm like, wait, I have effects. Like, yep. I can't, even after 2 months not playing, that was still like clockwork every round. It was like, no, wait, something has to happen here. All right, so conceptually, what is this leadership designed to do?
Give you more health and give you the ability to get rid of... So it makes you tougher, right? It makes you...
Okay, I was about to give you the atypical teacher moment where it's like, yes, that's right out of the textbook. But think.
No, I got you. I know what you're saying. I was saying it out loud. I'm like,
I know, you're like thinking out loud.
Yeah.
So obviously, yeah, it's supposed to make your army more survivable in general. It's supposed to cleanse you of like the bad stuff. But for me, mainly, it's to show the resiliency of the Asgard affiliation.
I think it's the hard mode of MCP where you get to play with less power than your opponent does all game long.
Yeah, that was actually something we brought up a lot when these guys first came out. Is like, oh, well, they says they have 2 power, but they really don't because they always spend it to heal.
Which is interesting because you think always spend it to heal because nothing is more important than your health. On the other hand, there are often times when you really need that extra power for that superpower to charge or to steal or to do whatever it takes. So,
if this had to be the character activating, it'd be a very, very worse leadership.
I concur. As it is, it's still middle of the pack.
Okay, what are the biggest ways this leadership can impact the game?
Adding 6 health back to your Thor that already has 15 health?
Strong disagree.
Okay.
You say the words, I remove stagger.
Yes. Takes Malekith and Hulk and says, oh, you're going to bring Kingpin and Black Cat to stagger me? Guess what? Not happening.
Immune to stagger.
Yes.
I'm immune to stagger is pretty sweet. And not even just stagger. Like, there's so many really annoying leadership. Like, I see people play demons with Asgard just so they can remove the incinerate on like but it's not even the character that goes, right? So they can test the middle with like some big character like Hulk. And then it's like, all right, well, I'll activate Loki, remove incinerate from Hulk, and advance Loki right behind Hulk. And you're like, great. This is going to be a fun round.
I think this is one of those leaderships it's not really good, but it's good deceptively because of what you just kind of said. Like, you never take a look at this leadership and go, oh, I'm going to build a team around this, which is what a lot of people do, right?
We did.
They take a leadership and everything synergizes. This is all around good. It's all around flexible, but it's not knocking the socks off of any game plan. So it's not sexy, but it is very good.
Okay. So how good is the leadership considering that you can heal, I don't know, someone there who have 20 to 30 health over the course of a game?
I still think it's not anywhere near the top tier leaderships. Because
yeah, probably not.
You still have to be doing something to your opponent to win. Whether it is dazing them or taking their objective points, you can't just be like, I'm not dying as easily. Like, oh, congratulations, that is not a path to victory. It might help you get there, but I'm not a big fan of purely passive plays.
Well, it seems like there's good ways to get to resiliency in armies, and that has nothing to do with their leadership. So are they the best at it, and the models that you have to take and stuff? I don't even know that that's true.
Well, they generally have deeper health pools than most affiliations, but not noticeably so, just a little bit.
It's really hard to assess leaderships in a bubble, right? The leadership is really good, but it's attached to Thor, which I think everyone says is a little below par for a 5 threat. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot to begin with by playing Thor. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. So what's bad about this leadership?
It costs power and is passive.
The leadership alone will not help you win a game. Like it's not going to do.
This leadership won't, or leaderships in general?
No, this one. This one particularly.
You just said leadership, I thought. So I was like, that's weird.
No. This leadership alone will not help you win a game, period. Like, if you get your model one-shotted, it doesn't do a thing for you.
Yeah, I think the biggest part is number of activations will affect its power level a lot, where that's not true of a lot of leaderships. It's not number of model counts, number of activations. So people getting dazed is a huge swing because you're losing out on an opportunity to trigger the leadership, and that model specifically can't be healed.
Yeah. I wonder in a world if Thor's charge costs 2 instead of 3, I think we'd be having a different conversation.
Well, just as a thought, just like a thought process here, would you rather spend 4 points for Thor or 4 points for Black Panther?
Black Panther.
I don't even think it's particularly close.
It only took me half a second.
Yeah. Like, if I told you Black Panther's going to 5 and Thor's coming down to 4, or it's staying the way it is, would you be happy or sad?
I just don't think Thor's kit works regardless of points. I don't think those points are relevant at all.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't play him in Avengers because they don't consider him a good model. But if you actually make his shit cheaper, he's not as bad. Like, if he can just charge every turn and then spend power from his attacks to do the throw, totally different story. It's still, borderline, but yeah, he only needs, if he just got 3 as, the strongest Asgardian or something like Prince of Asgard, give him some rule, like King of Asgard, where he gets 3 power instead of 2.
Yeah.
I think that might just be enough.
The Captain America treatment, some sort of thing, just a teeny push, and I think this whole affiliation would skyrocket.
Make his throw trigger on damage instead of a wild, or a hit instead of a wild.
There you go.
Just a little more consistent.
Yeah.
That's all he needs.
But back to the leadership, though. You're still never, aside from your big tentpole characters that you want to make stagger immune, you're never building a team around the leadership.
I think a lot of people do. I don't think it's a good idea.
Okay.
But I think people do it constantly.
I think people build Asgard teams because they want to play Asgard. They don't put people into Asgard because like, oh, this leadership, how can I synergize my team to work with this leadership?
I think they do.
Okay.
I think it fails horribly, but they do it.
You need to stop hanging out with people who can't play MCP.
Okay. All right. So that was the good and the bad. So what does this go? Obviously efficiency, right? There's a quality of life thing because you get more hit points, less
I think it's quality of life.
Quality of life?
Yeah.
It is
just
definitely not efficiency.
All right, fine. It was a test. All right, this one will be easy. Steve Rogers.
So it makes all of your superpowers cost 1 less.
Whoa, I gotta read it.
Well, fine. Well, you're taking your time.
Chill out, sir.
Okay.
God.
Chill.
Do I have to?
You're here. I need you here.
Okay.
All right. A day unlike any other Avengers affiliation. Each turn, you may reduce the power cost of the first superpower used by each allied character by 1 to a minimum of 1. Rules mechanics. I have seen this played horrifically wrong in every way you can possibly imagine. First of all, it works per turn, not per round. A lot of people that first come to this game think it works per round, including me. We played it wrong for a long time. Then, it reduces the power to a minimum of 1. Can't do that. Now, question, did this get errated, or did they just say you can't use X powers, right?
That's a core rule, I think.
That's a core rule.
Or it's in the official FAQ document or errata. But
yeah,
yes.
I know that has been a big thing for a long time. I was just wondering when they updated his card if they changed it, because it doesn't mention that on here. But you cannot reduce X powers, and so if you are using Shuri, you can't reduce her upgrades. I've also seen people try and use this on attacks, and you cannot reduce the power cost of attacks. Like, every way you can think this power has been misused, it has.
Oh.
It works on active and reactive superpowers, reducing them by 1 to a minimum of 1. It also has to be the first power you use the turn. So if you activate Thanos and you Space Stone yourself forward, your Cosmic Portal costs 2. Deal with it.
That's the one
I see that one misused constantly. I called your son on that in a tournament. I got a win against him because of it. He was like, I teleport, then I'm going to move you. It costs 1. I'm like, you are incorrect. He's
You
like,
are
what?
incorrect.
And then he looks down and he doesn't have enough power to do it again. He's like, oh no.
Yep.
Yeah, that's, I think, the day he stopped playing Avengers Thanos.
Thanks for baby seal clubbing him. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on. So conceptually, what is this power supposed to do? It's pretty basic. It's supposed to make everyone better.
It makes them better earlier. That's what it does.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good.
More efficient. It definitely just makes them more efficient.
I've heard it's not.
But it does. Go ahead.
I've heard it's not bad.
So the big part for me is that a lot of people just assume all characters like this leadership, and that's the part that's not true. It goes to hyper mode with specific characters, like Heimdall, who has a reactive power that works on your opponent's turns, and an active power that works on his turns, and everything costs 2. So he's like, or 2 or 3, so he's like basically having the power cost of all of his fucking abilities. And so where you're like, it makes people better earlier, it also makes some characters just twice as good as they normally are. Because they get to wash their power through it so many times in a single round. Like, it's crazy. Like, Doctor Strange even becomes a good character with this guy. Because it's 1 power for +2 defense dice.
Yep.
And so you could get like 4 power a turn on Doctor Strange pretty easily. And then it's just like +8 defense dice this round. And you're like, oh god. And then Captain America's bodyguarding everything, so it's all Captain America bonus defense dice. And that's just a problem.
I agree. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Oh, I was just going to say, it makes things turn 1 live. Most notable is Ghost Spider and her save, which I don't think was ever supposed to be a turn 1 thing. Stuff like that becomes very quickly abusable.
You could like move up Black Widow, take the middle point, and then they move up to attack her inside range 3, and you just lifesaver her back, and now she's in like stealth behind the point, and it's a big problem.
Yep.
There's all kinds of stuff you can do with it, right? Because like you said, it does make stuff accessible earlier, but also it makes something just go to 11.
It quasi breaks the game. For example, Black Cat can turn 1 steal. From the middle, if you deploy her centrally, she can steal any of the 3 center objectives.
Mm-hmm.
So you advance R&D or power to her. They only cost 2. She double moves, she steals. So as the opponent, you're like, would you like to roll for the senator? Please do. I auto steal it from you. You're like, so you're telling me I cannot roll and you just win? In fact,
well, the best part, if you're also playing like Ghost Spider and they don't have a way to move their own model, you can wait for whoever finds it. Ghost Spider can move behind that person, and then Black Cat can go and steal it. And if you try to attack Black Cat, she just gets lifesavered away on the first turn. It's like there's no counterplay. It's so annoying. So you basically just don't ever check it. Make them spend the power to check it.
Right, but the fact that you can dictate the game terms in such a drastic fashion is really, really strong, potentially probably broken.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I would love them to errata his leadership to be starting turn 2, you get the reduction. Just do that.
I don't think that fixes it. Like, if you're going to do that, you have to go through and change all the leaderships to let turn 1 gimmicky shit happen. Just ban advanced R&D if that's what you want to do.
Well, it's not just R&D that does it. It does. That's for the Black Cat steal, but he powers on so much other stuff.
Yeah. You have to fix Inhumans, and
now,
you have to get rid of advanced R&D.
Leave Inhumans. That can be their shtick. Inhumans can do turn 1 jank. They're the crown of that. Steve Rogers' Avengers with that deep roster does not need that on top of everything you were talking about, which is the way I think he is, per the devs, probably supposed to be played, which is taking advantage of characters with 2-cost reactive superpowers. It's
Yeah.
already really strong throughout the game.
You could almost just tell who's good with him by just looking and see if they have a 2-cost reactive power. That instantly makes them good with Cap.
Totally agree.
Yeah, like if you both have 5 characters, they can wash 10 power into effectively 20 power quite easily.
I mean, so many characters are good with him. Like, play Black Dwarf and just taunt for 1.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, okay, sure, hit me. I've got DR and I'm taunting indefinitely.
And he's got a cheaper throw. Like, it fixes a lot of stuff.
There are very few characters that don't like Steve.
Okay. So what are the bad things about this leadership?
Nothing.
Minimum 1.
It has some limitations. Is that a bad thing?
I mean, we're just talking about
It doesn't work on
like,
attacks.
There are affiliated characters with him that literally cannot use this leadership. They have 0 abilities that interact with his own leadership. That's a problem. It's not a problem. It's just something to be aware of. Don't just go blindly including people, obviously. Just saying. All right. So this one obviously just goes in efficiency, right?
Yes. Agree.
I'm outvoted.
All right. Next up, Sam Wilson.
Hmm.
This one's going to be interesting. Because Aaron's going to be like, this is the best leadership in the game. It's not even close.
I was
Like
immediately
10.5
going to say
miles?
meta bending,
Mhm.
and I still will. But go ahead. Do your stick first.
All right. All new, all different Avengers affiliation. When this character or an allied character is dazed or KO'd, choose another non-dazed allied character. The chosen character removes 1 damage and 1 special condition and may advance short. The chosen character can be affected by this leadership only once per round. Pop quiz, Jeremy, how many times do you think someone has asked me, does it work if they daze Sam?
Every time.
Every single time that is correct.
What, Brandon,
is
is the answer?
It is incredibly infuriating because it says in the sentence, if this character or another character. It's so frustrating. However, it would not work if he was KO'd unless it said that it did. So that is actually important clarification. But when he's dazed, his leadership still fucking works. Like, I don't understand the question.
What is the errata to this leadership, Brandon?
It's quite annoying that they didn't fix this card when they fixed the other cards because the errata has existed for a long time. The errata was... this effect is resolved after the effect that resulted in the character being dazed or KO'd. So it does not interrupt your opponent's effect. It's actually really important for stuff like after attackers resolve things. For instance, if you charge Malekith into somebody and daze them with the attack. No, this is a bad example.
I thought the errata was that it doesn't work with
There's
grunts.
another one. Oh, there's 3 erratas on it. We're not done yet.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of there's a lot of situations, they're not coming to my mind at the moment, where you could damage multiple people with an effect that has slightly different timing.
Probably like a shield throw, because then the shield throw would bounce off a model that had moved, and like if you do it
shield
before
throw is a
moved-
better example. Thank you, Jeremy. So you have 2 models that are barely within 3 of each other. You shield throw one of them, trigger the ricochet, the model is dazed. You could instantly interrupt your opponent's attack turn and move that other character out of range 3 to prevent the ricochet. That was an example of the timing. They fixed it. Now it has to be resolved after the effect, so your opponents after the attack effects go first, which would allow them to ricochet you. Same thing would be true of like Doomsday Chair, a lot of stuff like that. Or like Arc off of Hood's lightning, stuff like that. The second one is it can only be triggered by opposing effects, not your own effects. So you cannot use like a Mystique detonation to blow up a piece of terrain and daze one of your own models to then trigger the leadership and move Mystique, which was legal for a while. And so that's no longer legal. You can't do that. The third thing is it does not work on grunt characters.
That's a big one.
Yeah. I guess more specifically, it doesn't trigger on grunt characters. I think you can choose a grunt character as its target.
No, you can never choose a grunt character.
As a leadership ability?
I don't think so.
I don't think that's correct.
Hmm.
Can the grunt reroll from Shadowlands?
Pretty sure you can choose a grunt for effects. I think it's just not friendly tactics cards. Like, you couldn't use Doctor Strange's defensive shield ability on a grunt.
Yep.
You couldn't lifesaver a grunt? I don't play grunts.
Okay, you're
'cause
right.
I'm not
Cannot be
cheese
chosen
lord.
by the
Okay.
effects of allied team tactics cards.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I thought
Glad
it
we
was.
cleared that up. Okay. So those are the rule portions of this. So conceptually, what does this leadership do?
Time walks your opponent like you wouldn't believe.
I know Aaron specifically hates this leadership.
I do.
All right. So what he's referring to is you can do all kinds of like good work trying to get one of their important models dead. Like say your opponent's running a Hulk. So you can like stagger the Hulk. You can put him in a bad position with control. And then if you daze any of their other models, they get to like move the Hulk out of the bad position, remove stagger, stuff like that. Set up good counter plays. Let's say you go in on them, you daze Black Widow. Well, then Thor, Hulk, whoever moves into range to attack you because you did that.
Right. Most of the time when I'm playing my turn, I don't have to worry about you moving your models or taking actions on my turn, with many notable exceptions. Those being Lethal Protector, Lifesaver, Bodyguard, Taunt. Like there are those things that are out there that we're all familiar with. But this one, you can plan around each one of those because you know the ranges and the power cost and the abilities. So if I don't want you to Lethal Protector me, I can throw them away and then I can attack the character I want to, for instance. Or I can bait Lethal Protector. But with Sam's leadership, I cannot control it in any way, shape, or form. You as the Sam player get to do whatever you want when I daze a model. And it's really, really, really good.
And so you obviously can play around it because you can just choose to not daze people at bad times. But what you're saying specifically is that it's so powerful that it affects you to the point where you can't like hold it for like, I'll just not daze anyone on this specific turn, I'll do it later. Like you think that the fact that I have to daze this person and he's going to get this huge benefit off of that is just too much from turn to turn.
Yes. I mean, so there have been multiple instances of the correct answer in this game, excluding the leadership, is to daze this model. Because they're a Hulk on 1 health with, 19 power or whatever the case may be. X-23 is on 2. If I let her activate, she murders me. Okay, so I need to kill this model. Oh, but if I do, that sets my opponent up for this awesome play.
Yeah.
So I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't. Like, well, shit.
It feels like you hate the fact that you're punished for doing something as opposed to not being allowed to do something.
Oh, that is true, yes.
Okay, so that's just a perspective issue that you have, maybe?
Yes, one of many issues I have. But
you would rather just be told you can't attack X-23 than if you attack her, this happens.
That's like me giving my kids the choice between eating kale and spinach when they really want ice cream. Like, I'm giving you a choice. Come on, what's the problem?
This is making a lot more sense now. I think I understand. All right, so we've talked about the impacts of the rule because this is the key things here. Moving your models into key positioning, repositioning. Let's say your opponent's playing like Web Warrior board control list. You've done all this work to move all these people off points, and then you do like an impact webbing and spike 6 hits, daze somebody. Then like one of their models walks back onto a point and it's fucked your whole turn. Like that's an example of like when this is really frustrating. So now let's talk about the good points of it. What are your favorite parts about this leadership?
Free move action for the model of your choice. Punishes your opponent for playing the game.
I've heard that positioning is good.
Yeah.
I read that somewhere.
It really takes the sting off of losing a model for whatever reason when you get to do something awesome because of it.
I heard we like removing stagger from Malekith.
It's not bad.
And healing.
So why? I mean, this is so much like Asgard. Maybe I've never thought of it before, except for the fact that you get a move, and that free move is insane.
Yeah, it's a way more potent version of their leadership, but it just triggers less often. Because you get to do both things, it doesn't cost you power, and you get to move. But you only get to do it when your opponent dazes somebody or KOs somebody instead of doing it every turn.
Mm-hmm.
So you might even think it's kind of like an interesting like reverse, you get to do it more often, but it's a little less effective.
Uh-huh.
Anyway.
True, but the move is what takes it over the top. Like if the move was not part of this leadership, it would still be good, but nowhere near how good it is now. It's all about the move.
Yeah. So as like a concept, I know that a lot of people have been originally played him as the spam list. It was called Sam Spam. You built as wide of an Avengers list as you could, and your core foundation was all of the 3-point models with damage reduction. And so it was like Lizard, Iron Man, War Machine, and Luke Cage is like your core 12 points. And then you throw this guy in, that's 15. You're easily affiliated with whatever else you want to take. And that core is so hard to chew through because if you daze all 5 of them, they just gain a whole nother health bar for free in addition to the damage reduction. And so you're probably going to have to attack most of them three or four times each to get them dazed. And then that's 3 or 4 more attacks they're eating up with the leadership healing. And they're denying attacks by moving around all the time. And then you got to kill them on the backside too. Like, it's a ridiculous amount of attacks from regular models it takes to kill those guys. So it's really frustrating.
Other cool cheeky things you can do, and this used to be a thing, not so much anymore, was just play beam team.
Yeah.
So you'll bring Vision, Enchantress, anyone you want as a beam, and then you'll wait for your opponent to daze a model, and then you'll move your character with the beam into position to just double beam your entire team. It was really good when you had stuff like All You've Got, and you could, like, you know, super beam, supercharge the beam.
Yeah. Enchantress could double to go twice. She used her bow effect to move 2 people into the line, so you already had 2 with the free move. You move 2 more people in with her mind control, and then you're beaming 4 times and throwing something, and you're like, holy shit. Like,
and that is still very valid. You're just missing All You've Got, but otherwise...
Yeah, you're missing All You've Got, and she can't move multiple people anymore. But it's still very good. She's still a very solid 4-pointer.
Yeah. I just meant the
she's
strategy.
Starting to get her comeback, Yeah, we're starting to see her as a comeback. Like, she's making lists again. All right, so the bad parts, it's completely reactive. So your opponent has the decision on when or if it triggers. And I will say that if you get into, like, a Web Warrior, like, board control list, it's entirely possible they have 0 interest in killing your models, so that could actually be an issue. The thing now is the evolved list of this, is Aaron has talked about previously. It's basically a strong, wide core with one big elite model added to it, like a Malekith. And then so it's Malekith is just, you know, piece of candying through your list while you're trying to win on scenario.
It's about how can I maximize this Malekith / Hulk. Like, I'm going to run, like, Bullseye, Widow, Toad, and throw them up to just grab objectives. Well, what's your opponent's natural reaction? Oh, I'm just going to kill those guys. Okay, yeah. Hulk just got super close to your team. Oh, that was a bad idea.
Yeah, I highly recommend not blindly playing against this guy and not reading his leadership.
Yeah.
All right, so let's rate it. Aaron, where do you think this should be placed?
It is meta bending.
Oh, interesting.
I know. Shocker.
This is my shocked voice. Jeremy, thoughts?
I feel pretty much the same way.
Judas. All right, moving on.
Okay, where would you have put it? Oh, Overlord.
Gimmick, easily.
Gimmick. Meme.
No, I think this is definitely an efficiency one, but it's fine. Meta bending's fine. I do think when you're playing against Sam, a lot of the game is understanding the leadership, because the list, generally speaking, is usually not very dynamic. The most dynamic model in most Sam lists is Sam, and you just kill him and the leadership goes away. So it's hard for him to be balls deep in your list doing stuff if he just dies when that happens. So what he usually is resorted to is just binging the shield off people from the back line.
Yeah, and killing my models in my deployment zone before they get to activate by doing it.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Yeah, 20% of the time, 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen that happen. The only time I've seen somebody dazed in their deployment zone was this guy. He played Pentagram of Farley and sent a Hawkeye through it and dazed a Nebula in the guy's deployment zone. And then Hulk killed Hawkeye. And I was like, do you feel like you won this trade? Like, it's like, and he was so proud of himself. I'm like, whatever, dude.
So right. We'll take a 20-second tangent real quick. Jeremy and I played a game last week where he decided to KO my model in my deployment zone, thereby tricking Malekith leadership proc on MODOK to get him within range to then kill my Human Torch.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, his turn 1 went as good as it could possibly have gone. And yes, my model was sitting there in my deployment zone, never having activated, and then it was removed.
Nice.
You deserved it.
I know, I did. So yeah, it's happened recently.
From now on, whenever Aaron says something negative about something, we just have to ask what the story was that caused it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Show me on the model where it touched you.
All right, moving on. We've got Thanos.
Oh, Christ.
The Mad Titan.
Does he even have a leadership?
Death's agent, affiliation Black Order. When an enemy character is KO'd, this character's controlling player scores 1 victory point. Man, I just realized you can play Mental Domination on Thanos and gain a victory points.
Do what now? Explain.
It's a tactics card by... Well, I mean, it might not work. Let's check. I'm curious now. Mental Domination. Okay, this is the 4-paragraph card that is very confusing, so stay with me. Unaffiliated active. During their activation, Cassandra Nova or Jean Grey may spend 3 power to play this card. Choose an enemy character within 3 of this character. Advance the chosen character short. Then, the character that played this card makes the above attack. Range 2, 2 dice, physical, 0 costs. When measuring range and line of sight for this attack, measure from the chosen character, not the attacking character. Add dice to the attack roll equal to the physical defense of the chosen character. You may reroll any number of the opposing defense dice in the defense roll. So that's very clear now. You know what happens?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No, nobody knows what happens. It's so confusing. Basically, you get to move a model, and then the model that played the card gets to I think it's the model that played the card.
Yes.
Gets to make an attack roll, but the line of the point of origin of the attack is the model that you played the card on, and then you add one of those models or the target's physical defense to the roll, and then you get to modify their defense dice, not the attack. It's very weird.
You fold it, and then you fold that in half.
You fold
and then
that
you fold
one in half.
that in
Then you
half.
fold that one in half. Then you fold it in half.
Oh my god.
Moving on. So anyway, rules-wise, it's important to note that his leadership on the backside changes. It's very terrible on the backside, though. I've seen it used once, and that was after I goaded the person multiple times to use it.
Cyclops says, hold my beer.
Yeah.
Oh
This might
my.
be worse.
No.
All right, so during the modified dice step of an attack, an allied character may suffer up to 3 damage. For each damage suffered, it may reroll 1 of its attack dice. And then clarification, if you kill yourself, the attack ends. But that's already a rule in the game, so that's fine. Okay, so conceptually, this is supposed to show that his list is supposed to be playing attrition, right? They're coming to get you. His goal is murder. And so this kind of encourages you to play along those lines.
So their goal is murder, yet he's got the best control in the game, so he tends to be able to score as well.
Yeah, so I actually think the leadership is not irrelevant. Like, you will usually get 1 or 2 points off of it. And in the older days, it's way more important because they were just scenario racing you to 16 by playing keep away with the single objectives. And so if you ran at them, they could get a quick kill and get there a little bit faster.
I don't think
So-
it's super relevant. It exists. It's okay, and maybe 2 out of 50 games matter in that sense.
Yeah, I think it's definitely more relevant with grunts now. It's very important to note that it works with grunts. And so if your opponent's playing Shadowlands ninjas and they're dumb enough to put them in the middle of the table, just fucking kill them. Like, free points. And so, as in my opinion, this leadership should just say your opponent doesn't get to use grunts. Like, if that was all
Yeah,
it said,
I agree.
it'd be an okay leadership. It'd be bad, but it'd be okay.
Too bad Shadowland doesn't get the option to put grunts down.
Yeah, so he has to put them down.
Yeah, I think. I'm looking it up.
I would imagine you could do something cheeky like fail to place because you kept trying to place them in an illegal location. I'm using air quotes for people at home.
And refusing to
It's like,
place them
I would like to place him on top of Daredevil. You're like, that's the legal place. You're like, darn. I guess no, he doesn't fit. And it's just like you're just square pegging, square holding. It's like, I can't twist it. It's not. It's like the people in those infomercials where like, oh no, I have to like get this spray bottle out of a cabinet. And they're like, whoosh, and it's like everything goes flying. You're like, yeah, you're really terrible at this. It's like the guy who's trying to pour milk. It's like, if only this was possible. Like, and just spilling it everywhere. Like that's how placing my models would work.
So I do think that he actually does kind of screw over Shadowland and Electra if she were ever to come to the table.
What are you talking about? I've never seen her on the table. Sure. I've seen Viper 4 more times than I've seen in Electra. Weren't you the one that tried to convince me to play Electra with Convocation?
Convince you to play is such a hard, harsh way of saying.
Just own up to it.
No.
All right. So moving on. It's probably the lowest impactful leadership in the entire game, because even
Correct.
the worst leadership in the game has an impact. It just impacts you in terrible ways, but it is an impact. This is the least impactful leadership for sure.
Yeah, it doesn't even cause you to scramble to try and like gain.
There are
points,
probably probably 1 in 3 games where someone plays Thanos the first time, they forget they have a leadership, and it doesn't matter. All right, so I don't think there's really anything left to talk about. Let's talk about where this falls in the scheme of things. I'm going gimmick, right? The only other one I see is the blitz strategy, but it doesn't really blitz because it's a slow burn, because it doesn't even happen till like turn 3.
It is non-defined.
I'm going with gimmick.
Bad?
That's
Do we have
fine.
a bad category?
Gimmick's fine.
No.
Okay.
It's not bad. You'd
I'll
rather have it
accept
than
arguments. Yeah, I'll accept arguments for blitz, but I'm putting it in gimmick unless we have something else. Okay.
It is not blitz.
All right, so moving on. Aaron, I think you forgot to tell me this one. First of the Black Order.
Oh, probably.
While we're on Black Order. This is Black Order Tactics card. Yes, it does eat up one of your 10, and yes, it does eat up one of your 5. Reactive, if your squad does not contain Thanos the Mad Titan after deployment, when you would normally select your leader, Corvus Glaive may play this card. Corvus Glaive has the following leadership ability and is your active leader. Right-hand man affiliation Black Order. When an allied Black Order character dazes or KOs an enemy character, all Black Order characters gain 1 power. I know this got shit on a lot when it first got printed and people found out about it. I don't think it's nearly as bad as they think. I think you actually generate a lot of power. So the important point to note is the person who does the damage does not get the power. Also, for rules clarification, I think this is also why we got the clarification for tactics cards count as the person doing it. I think this card was the catalyst for that change. So let's say Ebony Maw and Supergiant play the, was it Psychic Shockwave card? I can't remember the name of it.
Yep, you're right.
You roll dice against every enemy holding an objective, and if they take damage, they drop it. It's basically well-laid plans, but Black Order instead. So the cute part is I think they both get the power as long as they damage an enemy.
I think
Or
so.
if you daze or KO an enemy. If you daze or KO anybody, I think they both get it because they're both playing it. And so both of them were the character that didn't and the character that did. I'll have to check. We'll have to go into some deep rules logic for that one. All right. So obviously this is a power booster.
Yep.
What are the impacts of this card? How often do you think this triggers?
Pretty much every turn. After turn 1. Every single turn. And it's all...
You mean round, correct?
Round, yes.
Okay.
Every
Just
round.
clarifying.
I would say
Yes.
at least once a round from rounds 2 to 4, which are the rounds that matter.
Okay.
So if you're playing
so-
5 wide, you'll get 12 power.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But it's in big bunches.
The models that need the power get the power. I think that's key.
Yeah.
Black Dwarf is very, very good with them and using that leadership. It works amazing.
And funnily enough, again, screwing over grunts since 2022.
Yep. I'm in the folks that think it's good. I don't think it's bad at all. I think it's a really good list.
I think this leadership is very underrated. It's better than most tactics cards in the game, and people need to grow up and quit complaining. It sucks that you don't get a leadership for free. I get that, but it's fine.
It does, but I think that this is a good example of how to take things and rein them the fuck in instead of having Captain America fucking helping the whole world. No, it's like you have to take that pile of models and it only helps that pile of models. That's it.
I mean, honestly, the Black Order list that came out right after this came out was actually, in my opinion, more terrifying than the old Black Order list. It was so hard to play into. There's very few things that dealt with an amount of damage coming at your face.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually really annoying. It was mostly the follow me husband-wife mechanic of activating 3 models in a turn. It was so hard to respond to that. It was almost as bad as when original Thanos was still out.
And it was interesting to see, you got husband and wife, and then you also have Ebony Maw. And you're like, holy shit, those folks can kill some dudes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's pretty brutal. All right. So what are the best things about? What are the good things about this leadership?
Activates all of your powers and attacks. Like anything you want to do, 2, 3, and 4, you're doing it basically.
Okay, so it keeps your characters fueled because a lot of the characters that Black Order tends to take already had a decent amount of power generation, but they have a lot of ways to spend it, so more is always better.
Yeah.
So it fuels your big power hungry characters a little bit more.
I think the leadership has a high ceiling.
It's probably true.
Like some are very consistent. Like Steve is pretty consistent. You have a plan with what you're gonna do with the power savings, if you will. With this one, I've never actually played it. I played into it a couple times, and I played into it with Shadowland. And yeah, people were getting, instead of 4 triggers, they're getting like 12. Right? If you play wide into Corvus, okay, just give them heaps and heaps of power. So the ceiling on this
Yeah.
leadership is pretty high. But the con is it's entirely dependent on what your opponent plays. Oh, they're going to play 3 wide with Malekith, Hulk, and MODOK? Okay, you're not getting much power this game, buddy.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's definitely dependent on what your opponent's playing. It also requires a Black Order character to do it, which makes them even more xenophobic than they already were. So yeah, keep that in mind. All right, what classification does this get? We've got Metabenders, Quality of Life, Efficiency, Gimmick, and Blitz. We also got Control, but we haven't gotten one yet. There's very few controls.
I think this one's another Blitz, in my opinion.
I agree.
I actually agree too. I think this is actually the first Blitz.
Are we allowed to agree? All 3 of us?
Nope. Change it, change it,
Oh,
change it.
man.
All right. Well, we're going to actually stop with our leadership rating for today. We'll come back to this next week. So right now we've got efficiency leaders. We've got She-Hulk and Steve. Gimmicky leaders, we have Thanos. And Blitz leaders, we have First of the Black Order. Metabenders, we have Sam Wilson. Quality of Life, we have Thor. So that's all we got for
Cool.
today.
That was fun.
Yep.
So what are we going to call this thing?
I got it. Okay. Incredible, new, fantastic, astonishing, mighty, original, uncanny, sensational podcast.
I'm just going to put down infamous.
All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us today. Hopefully, you guys had a good time. This has been Brandon.
And Jeremy.
And Aaron.
And you have just listened to Who is Your Leader and What Does He Do? We did it.
Good job.
Another one bites the dust.
I mean, these are just becoming... every couple hundred episodes we do, I think just gets easier and easier, honestly.
I know, right?
It's like flapjacks. It's just easy.
Let's see. Like episode 1 through 20, we were doing 4-hour podcasts. And
Yeah.
then we cut it down to 2 hours around episode 20. So let's see. That is... We're somewhere around 300 hours of practice.
Mm-hmm.
Once we get to that 10,000 mark, we'll be really good.
I can't wait until we get good at like cramming information into shorter amounts of time. Like we'll be able just to jam this in like 15 minutes and call it a night, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
I never understood the criticisms like you should make your podcast shorter. I'm like, but if you like it, don't you want it to be longer? I was like, it never made sense to me. They're like, well, I can't listen to it in one day. I'm like, you're not supposed to. It's supposed to be like like it lasts you the whole week if you want it to. Like, I'm gonna listen to half an hour right now, and then like my ride home, I'll listen to another half an hour. It's like a book on tape. You're not supposed to sit still and listen to it for 12 hours.
It's like Stranger Things. They gave up on the whole hour episode. They're like, who said we had to do an hour anyway? And they're looking around going, I think we can do whatever we want, right? And they're like, yeah, we'll have 2.5 hour episodes. Like,
Did
what
they
the
really?
fuck?
I didn't even pay it. I didn't notice. Were
Yeah,
they
last
that long?
season, that last episode last season was like 2.5 hours. It's like a fucking Harry Potter movie. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well, the funny thing is, like, the episode count is irrelevant because it's a streaming service. It's not like it aired.
Oh, yeah.
So you could just, it's like, here's 2 16-hour episodes, and you're like, what?
Like,
Well, this is the producer's way to get around the contracts, right? So
Yeah.
they have to pay $1 million per episode to each actor. Haha, I've got this down.
Gotcha.
Gotcha, bitch.
2 6-hour episodes. Fuck you.
That's funny.
So let's hear Aaron's movie review. He's been watching a lot. You'd be proud of him, Brandon.
Oh yeah.
TV, not movie.
Oh,
Oh.
episodes. He's been doing a lot of
So
episodes.
okay, well hold on. So you finished The Boys, right?
Yes, I finished. I was on the last episode last time we
And
cast, so I finished The
How
Boys.
how many pizza rolls out of 10 does The Boys get?
As an overall, all 3 seasons, I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay,
That's
pretty
respectable.
solid.
It started
agree.
out higher. I really
That's
did not
fine.
like the ending of season 3. That was just horseshit.
Yeah, a lot of people were not huge fans of it. I think I get it, but like everybody wanted something else to happen, and so you got that feeling of like I didn't get what I wanted out of this.
Yeah.
Because like
Agree.
you thought it was going in one exact direction the entire way. Also, it was one of those like, why didn't you guys just do this? But like the characters clearly are written from the point of view of like heat of the moment, like quick decision making, and where like everyone else is like, well, this is dumb. Why don't you just do that?
Mhm.
Like anyway, continue.
Okay, so after that, I watched the entire season of Invincible.
Okay.
That gets
And what-
4 pizza rolls.
Whoa, you didn't like
I know,
Invincible?
I know.
Not nearly as much. No, I felt it was far too scripted for an animated series. It held very little. Can't wait to watch the next episode for me.
Okay,
So
interesting. I liked it, but
It's
alright.
okay to be wrong.
That's
That's
I
fine.
find that surprising. Yeah, I
Okay.
find that surprising. You're so wrong.
yeah,
All
I
right,
know.
continue.
After that,
What's
I
next?
watched all 13 episodes of The Sandman, or 11, how many there were.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet.
Okay, then I won't tell anything about it, but we'll give it a 7. It was good.
Okay, solid boys rating. Gotcha.
Very different, but
We'll
good.
just rate everything from now on a plus or minus scale of the boys.
sure.
That'll be our rating system. It won't be confusing at all to new people.
And then I
This
watched.
gets a +2. Like, oh, that's a good rating. Like, nobody will understand. What's next?
And first season of Daredevil.
The Netflix Daredevil, right?
Yes, Netflix Daredevil.
Okay. What did that get?
We'll give that an 8. It was really good.
Wow, he liked Daredevil season 1 more than the boys.
Yes.
Huh.
That was a
Okay.
good one. I like that one too. The dark and
Season
gritty
1
Netflix
Daredevil
ones
was
I
good.
dig.
I want to say season 2 was. I know season 2 is. I don't want to say because I don't want to spoil anything, but I don't know. Have you started season 2 of Daredevil?
So I found somewhere that told me to watch things in a different order. So I'm watching Daredevil
Okay.
followed by Jessica Jones, then
Okay.
Daredevil 2, then Luke Cage 1. So it has all 13 shows in the order you're supposed to watch them.
Okay,
So I'm doing that.
I would recommend not watching Luke Cage, but that's my personal opinion.
Fair enough.
It was okay, and then don't watch Iron Fist.
I know-
There's nothing good down that rabbit hole.
I'm still watching it.
The single best scene of Iron Fist is in Luke Cage season 2. Because there's a crossover episode where Danny Rand shows up and he's like actually Iron Fist, and in none of the show Iron Fist he acts like Iron Fist. It was a totally different character. It was weird. It was like, oh, you finally gave us what we wanted, and then canceled the show. My favorite was someone got a screen grab of the 2 actors on set together, the guy who plays Iron Fist, guy who plays Luke Cage, because they did a cameo together, and then also the Defenders show is all of them together. And so they're like, hey, with the moment you realize you're actually Heroes for Hire, because that was right after all their shows got canceled.
Oh,
It was great.
Nice.
Brutal.
I actually
So
enjoyed
anyway-
Jessica Jones quite a bit.
Jessica Jones was awesome. Season 1 was awesome. Season 2, Jessica Jones, any Jessica Jones after season 1 is questionable.
I'll agree or disagree after I watch them.
What
So
else?
anyway, that
have
was
you watched?
last week's viewing. That's it.
It's pretty good. You had a pretty good run there.
Yeah, it's not bad for a week.
I'm cut up with the Rings of Power.
It's
I'm
good.
very much enjoying Rings
You
of
like
Power.
it? I
I
have
like it.
I have 2 days off now. I basically fired myself for 2 days. That's the only way to make that happen. So I am specifically like catching up on my shows. Mostly
Nice.
Friday. Tomorrow's I have to wait for an AT&T guy to come and do something. I don't know what they're doing, but they've decided to tell me that they're coming into my home and doing things.
They're laying pipe.
Interesting.
I think that's what they're doing. I don't
Okay.
know. I'm all about the piping.
Just be ready for it. Whatever they want.
Yeah.
I'm
say
I'm
okay.
into it. I've
Yeah.
seen a lot of movies and shows. Like I know how it's going to happen.
Yeah.
I just hope he's
Just
gentle.
just like the movies. Trust me.
Yes. Just be gentle. It's That's okay.
That was a fun episode of Friends when they get the free porn and they've been watching it for so long. Like, they're afraid if they turn the TV off, they'll lose the access to free porn back when you had to pay for porn channels. And so they refused to turn off the TV for like a month. And they've been it's just been on in the background. And then like it started affecting their decision making because like they'll like order a pizza and the pizza guy shows up, but it's a girl. And it's like, he just assumes that like this is going to turn into a porno because like his brain has been warped by the scripting of pornos. And so he's like, and so they're collaborating layers. Like, I had the weirdest thing happen today. Like, this person delivered a package and they didn't even take their clothes off. Like, I was so confused. Like,
oh my god.
Yep. So that was fun. I'm watching, what is the name of it? Andor, the Cassian thing. It's pretty good so far. It did start a little slow, but I'm liking it so far. I think I'm a couple episodes behind, though.
I have not watched that, or Rings of Power, or She-Hulk episode 7. So many things I'm behind. I watch those with my family, so my kids' availability is limited.
Yeah, I very much liked it. I think She-Hulk's over now, isn't it?
No.
Is there another
no.
episode?
I think it's got one more.
Okay. 2 more. Or did one come out today?
If it did, I didn't see it.
It's 9 episodes long.
So then there's 2 more.
Okay, so there is more. That's nice.
I like it. I keep watching it and I want to hate it, but there's something just kind of like pleasant about it that I'm just kind of like...
I don't know what it is. It's honestly, you know what? The same thing happened for me with 2.5 Men. Like, it was on when I got home from work and my roommate would watch it.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, isn't this show supposed to be terrible? And it was it's just fast-paced enough and witty enough and like cheery enough to just be like comforting background. And so like I never wanted to turn it off. And so, but it wasn't like I never yearned to watch it, but if it was on, I could watch it and it'd be fine. Like, it was just weird. And so it's like She-Hulk has that quirky quality about it where it's just like upbeat enough that it just is entertaining. I don't know why.
I think it's a little...
I mean, don't get me wrong, She-Hulk is much better than 2.5 Men, in my opinion, but it's just like, it's got that, like, quality about it. I don't know.
It's a little campy, but not too much to where it turns you off, or turns me off.
Yeah.
Like, I enjoy the level of campiness and quirkiness that they went with.
I need to ask Parker if, of course he's gone for this question, useless asshole. Anyway, I need to ask him if She-Hulk breaks the fourth wall in the comics as well, or is it just like the way they went?
She does.
Okay.
Yeah. I was reading something about that because I was like, this is weird. Is this supposed to be...
It's weird that...
No, she did. Yeah, that was one of her things.
It's getting more aggressive as the season goes on, too. Like, before it was just a couple, like, random comments, and now it's like, there's, like, whole scenes where it's just her and the camera.
What's the next Marvel movie coming out? Do you know?
Yeah, it's Black Panther 2, right?
I think so.
Which is, they spoiled Namor in it. Namor's in it.
God, I hope it's good. Like, I need something. Like, I'm waiting. Like, come on, guys. Just...
So I saw a movie poster, and I was afraid to look up if it was real or fan-made. And by the way, if you haven't heard my rants before, fan-made trailers and movie posters is like... That's like people who make their own Marvel Crisis Protocol characters and post them online. It's like insta-block. Like, don't fucking do that. It's so dumb. No one cares what little, like, fucking fan-made thing you made. It's fucking annoying. It makes it really hard. We have enough fake news as it is. We don't need fake movie posters. It's so annoying.
I'm gonna hard agree with you on that one.
Yeah, I fucking hate it.
So
it's like, guys, look, I made a Sandman Marvel Crisis Protocol card. But it's really just Cyclops' card. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, please stop wasting my time.
What I hate is they're like trying to balance it. What do you think it should have, like a 4-dice attack or a 5-dice attack?
Get out of here. Oh my god, it's so annoying.
It gets all the attacks.
Sometimes
go
ahead.
If you want to be a game designer, go develop your own fucking game and see if anyone likes it. Like, stop wasting our time.
Sometimes I'll read them for trolls because the vast majority of people who create their own shit and think it's balanced and then post it online, and everyone's like, are you fucking kidding me? This is the most broken piece of crap model ever made. And they're like, no, I think it's balanced because of X. Like, I gave them only 2 DR instead of the 4 I had in my mind.
Yeah. Why can't my Nightcrawler just be at all places at the same time? Like, okay.
Anyway.
Yeah, but the movie poster I saw, and I'm just assuming it's fan-made, so I feel bad even saying it, but I don't even want to say it. I kind of want to because I'm hoping somebody else saw it and knows if it's real or not. But it's the Deadpool 3 movie poster, and he's holding hands with Wolverine.
I have seen a lot of information on that confirms it. I would say it's true. I don't know if that's the real poster, but it's supposed to be true.
Okay. I don't know how I feel about this. I hope it's actually true.
Yeah.
But like I really don't need more like fake shit in my life.
So I think I finally got my friend from Atlanta, John, to play Marvel Crisis Protocol in a real way. He's coming to Warfare Weekend, and he said that he was going to play War Machine like 3 months ago. I was talking to him today, and he said it finally, like a dying star, has collapsed and destroyed itself because it no longer exists in his area and nobody's playing it. And I'm like, what? Like, that was supposed to be a thing. It was supposed to be back alive or something. He says
I don't know what you're talking about.
he can't even get a game. And he was like, well, I got tickets to Warfare Weekend and I'm coming to see you. So I'm like, TTS, buddy, TTS. Because we played with him for a minute up there.
I can only imagine Warfare Weekend's going to be a little sad days on the War Machine end.
I guess, right? I don't even know. Because that's supposed to be a thing.
I feel like transitionary periods are always like the worst for tabletop games because you're losing like 30% of your clientele like right off the top just from attrition. Mm-hmm. And it's like the people who like were only barely hanging on because they already knew everything and they have zero interest in trying to learn new shit. And it's like all of those people are just immediately out the door when you basically announce a big change. And then you have to try the inertia change of dragging new people into some great unknown future. And so it's just very hard on games in general when you do that. Especially when it's just not like hey guys, nostalgia reboot. Like GW lives on that shit. They're like, guys, we're bringing back X. And so they get a bunch of old people from that. It's like the only way it works for them. But for other companies, it's absolutely brutal. Like X-Wing. Like every time they changed X-Wing, it just dropped like 30% of the community overnight. It felt like.
Did X-Wing just die on the vine? Is it done? Do
it's
people...
very slow going in Kansas City right now. From what I understand, the game's actually not actually dead. It's just dead in Kansas City. But it's not even dead in Kansas City. There's a small group of people that are playing it. They just don't play it at our store anymore, which is why it seems dead.
They're still. I think they're still at Game Cafe, aren't they? Isn't that where they probably do it?
I think they still go to Game Cafe, but even some of the diehards, like we had like 5 people in our regular group that were all big X-Wing people. None of them play it. Like they haven't played games in 6 months to a year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what War Machine does at Warfare.
Yeah.
What I've read is that Mark IV is selling very well, but I can totally see how everyone is just done with Mark III. Like,
yeah,
you've announced something new coming out this month. Why am I playing the old shit?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
That's what happened with Warhammer from 5 to 6. Like, that's when all my friends jumped ship and went to Privateer Press. Like, that gap right there was like 6 months. The PDF got released, and like it wasn't official. We just left. We're like, okay, we're done.
Yeah. Well, it was very not well received in general. 6th edition 40K was pretty trash.
Yeah.
It was the second worst edition they ever printed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, which was 7th, where they just made it worse. They literally just took all the stuff people didn't like from 6th, tripled down on it, and printed that. And then they're just like exiting in droves. Like, oh shit.
Huh. Well, it's Games Workshop. They can do what they want.
Yeah.
They're better than you, and they know it.
Including perform a Yankee swap type situation on people. I don't know if you've heard about this. I assume you heard me shouting about it. Yeah. So they
Yankee swap. Yankee swap.
They fired all their playtesters and then released the new squad army, which has been waited for 30 years. They announced that they're only releasing the army box. All the individual units will not be available for a month. So if you want to play the army, you have to buy 4 box sets of the new army, which is $200 each. So $800 price tag. And you can only play these 3 units of the new army. They were spoiled. The people got the books early, like usual. And they were expected to be the most broken thing ever introduced to the game. And so immediately, knee-jerk reaction, half of the tournament circuits in Europe banned them before they even came out. They're like, well, just so you know, so people don't cancel the reservations with our tournaments, we're not allowing squats, don't worry about it. And so the army launches on, or the box set launches on Saturday. That Monday following, they like meteor strike nuked it from orbit, and so now none of the shit works as intended. And they didn't go through and just like make them not as good from what I've been told. And these are people that like know like what's going on. And they went through because there's this like debuff they apply to an enemy unit, like a judgment token for them like doing stuff. And so they apply this debuff to them, which affects your dice rolls. And when you roll a certain result against them, it triggers your other abilities. They went in addition to changing the point cost of all the units, make them more expensive, they broke that interaction, so it no longer triggers your own abilities. And so the entire army ability of the squats is just now doesn't really work as intended, because that was the only way they could think to nerf them enough to make them playable.
They're cute as fuck, though.
Yeah.
They're really cute.
I cannot imagine, so think about it, you've waited for decades for this army to come out. You drop $800 day of to play it. You open your boxes, start assembling, and before you can even get a game in, they nuke it from orbit. It's basically unplayable. And you're like, not only like, even if it was just decent, like they just objectively lied to you about how your army would work.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just like a balance issue. They like actually changed the functionality of the army before you could even get it on the table. That's fucking dumb. Like, I would be furious if they did that to me. Like, just imagine Magneto came out. You buy Magneto on Saturday. Sunday, the errata comes out. Magneto doesn't place obstructions anymore. He just doesn't have the debris counter things. Like, what? Like, that was like half of his interactions. Like, fuck me. What the hell am I supposed to do now? Wander around and shoot people. Like, wow, this is so interesting.
Yeah, they're doing the whole, like, they promised something and they broke their promise. And
now, don't get me wrong. If they went through and actually released a super busted army, they have to do something.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that they should not be also allowed to get away with directly lying to people to get sales. It's like, there's no way they didn't know it was that broken. If people read through the book once, like, didn't even play a game and go, this is completely fuck busted, can't touch the table ever, or it'll ruin the game. Like, how did you not know? Like, this is clearly intentional imbalance to increase sales. And as a person who votes with his money, I would dramatically vote that I don't think that's okay.
Have you met Games Workshop, first of all?
Exactly. But, like, it's up to the people. If they're just going to reward that behavior, then it's their own damn fault.
Yes, absolutely true. I got out of GW, except for Blood Bowl, a while ago.
Yeah. I don't know that you actively try to avoid buying their model kits, but Blood Bowl doesn't really give GW a whole lot of money. Because everything's third party with Blood Bowl at this point. They're getting closer back to it with actually releasing plastic kits and stuff now. But like for 20 years, it was almost exclusively third party.
Yep, you're not wrong.
All right, we should probably get into it. You guys think?
Sure.
We got a lot of stuff to do today.
A lot of chores.
You gotta do the chores.
Good one.
I don't even know what that reference is from. I just know it's a reference.
Oh my god.
I think it was like Penny Arcade or something.
No. God damn it. I can't think of it now. I feel like I knew it the second that you said it, and then I lost it.
Yeah, it just faded away. I know there was a Penny Arcade where they learned to play StarCraft, and they were like, all right, I'll show you how to play real quick. He's like, I know how to play, and he had no idea what he was doing. And he's like, these are the spiky boys. They spike stuff. And he's like, oh my god. And so I thought it was from that for a while. I don't know. I never bothered to look it up.
I feel like it's something that Schwarzenegger says, like, "Du is your leader." What does he do?
Yeah, that sounds correct.
I mean, it's something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. Somebody's freaking out in their car right now, screaming what it is.
Yeah, I'm sure they are. Man, Facebook keeps changing everything. I thought I had a message, but I don't know how to see my messages now because they moved the button.
When are the
oh, I see.
When are the video games going to be posted?
From the tournament? Yeah. It might be a little bit because of all the shit I'm going through because I'm moving and everything.
Oh yeah, you are moving. When's that happening?
I took the first load of stuff over the weekend. We're going to do it over like the course of a month, basically.
Yeah. What a pain in the
Alright,
ass.
whatever. I'll check it later. Yeah, I mean, obviously, moving's never fun. We've been here for 10 years, so there's a lot to move.
Are you working tomorrow, Aaron?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I've got 2 Blood Bowl games
Oh, do you?
starting at 11.
Oh my god.
Oh, I booked my plane ticket and hotel for LVO.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're considering renting a car, and so I actually looked into it, and it's actually cheaper to rent a limo than a car.
Oh my god.
Yeah. But check this out. So it's $250 for the limo, right? But it doesn't come with a driver.
Oh my god.
So you spend all that money, and there's nothing to chauffeur it.
I fucking hate you. Wow, dude.
I got him hard with that one.
You did.
He was so deep.
He
Fucking
was on the
flattened
he
me.
was on the line.
He was like in that van looking for the candy that deep. Like he's like, "Where's the candy?" Door shuts.
Yep.
Shit.
Oh no. Not twice.
Oh god, that was good.
Got me. That was good. I did like that one.
Yeah.
I was
I
like,
thought that was
well,
good
I'm
as
not
well.
going to drive it for you, you fuck. And then it did. God.
Oh god. Jeremy, the apocalypse is happening. Listeners are starting to send me dad jokes for you.
Oh no.
And then it's just gonna feed on itself.
Oh my god.
So good.
I still don't see
So-
Perrin listed as having a ticket.
Oh yeah, I definitely have not sent that in.
Okay.
Remind me tomorrow at work, and I'll try and put it in if we get a little bit of free time.
What's the...
I have like this list of 40 things that I'm slowly working through when I have free time, and so when it gets on the list, I'll do it.
Well, I care about one thing on your list, because if I just bought Perrin tickets and he can't play because he didn't get his points recorded,
Yeah,
I might not be
Yeah.
very happy.
I'm surprised I haven't been contacted yet. Like honestly, it's been so long now. It's been what, 3 months almost? 2 months?
Not that much. About 2 months.
About 2 months, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get those in. If it was like I just go here and like send the guy a message of the results, like I would do that. I honestly don't even know how to report it. Like they never told me. And so I assume I just message guy and ask him like, how do I get you this information?
Yeah, well, it's frickin' Charles, right?
No, I'm pretty sure. Well, at least
And Charles and
But my
Tyson are
co-
the ones running it, right?
yeah, Tyson was the person I was talking to. So,
Okay.
but I don't know if I just send him like, here is the event. Like you can look at it and punch in the points. Maybe I can just send him a screenshot of the placements. I'll probably try and do that. But yeah, remind me. Of
When
tomorrow.
approved, you will receive an email with information you will need to supply at the completion of your event.
That definitely never happened.
Okay, so then, yeah, I would.
That would require me to give him my email address.
Yeah, I would call him up or email him or whatnot.
Yeah. Maybe he thought he sent it and he just is like, this guy's taking fucking forever. I also don't check my email like hardly fucking ever. So that
Sure.
and maybe he had my email and I didn't know it. All right, well, let's go ahead and wrap it up then. Get out here early tonight.